Good day, everyone. So we are back for this subject. We are back to Marfami or marriage and family. Again, I am Mr. Rayuel Rito Senyo. You can call me Sir Rayuel um, as my nickname. It's the friendliest way that you can address me inside or outside the classroom or online or offline. So again, my name is Sir Rayuel. So I hope that you were able to see the first video, the introduction video, which contains the course description, the learning outcomes, what to expect from this class, and so far as it's a um, fully online term for us, the Bolt. And of course, we do have the submission protocols, what to expect from the subject, of course, the netiquette or what we expect from you or from each other. So this second video would contain other important elements of our subject. Of course, this is still part of the introduction. So without further ado, let us proceed to the next slide. Okay, so for our timetable, this Bolt or the Benilde online learning term starts July 1 up to August 25. So this is roughly about 8 weeks of the term of this term. Of course, we don't meet every day of from July 1 to August 25. We do have our regular supposed to be meetings on the date or rather on the day that is assigned to us. So if it's a Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Hopefully we can meet during Tuesdays. Of course, I may have a announcement on our meeting on July 7, for example, on a Tuesday at 1 p.m., for example, for this section, or maybe for another section, another class or another time slot. I would mention what are the specific dates that we would be meeting for our specific section, because I am handling for Marfami section. So you have to wait for that specific announcement when we do see each other during the synchronous meeting. So for Marfami, we have 5 modules, namely Module 1, the Universal Call to Holiness. Second, Module 2, Encyclicals on Marriage, Family Life, and Sexuality. Module 3, Marriage in the Bible as a Sacrament. Module 4, Realities of Life, Marriage, and Family. And lastly, we have Module number 5, Challenges and Issues to Marriage and Family Life. So what are the contents of each of the modules? Each of the modules are organized as such. So we have we have module resources, and then of course we have letter B, tasks, deliverables. Letter C, we have the assessment and feedback, and of course we have letter D for the supplementary references. So under letter A, module resources, these are where we can see the readings, the links, and short videos that will be the source or like the so-called content for this subject. Of course, for letter B, we have the tasks, activities like Dropbox submissions, reflections, possibly discussions, and even quizzes, for example, can be found under letter B. Okay, what we would like you to attain or to accomplish within the week, or at least at least within the module. We have letter C for assessment and feedback. So I understand maybe quizzes can also be given under letter C. Of course, discussions and questions about the subject can also be seen or can be done under letter C. For extra readings, extra references for further readings, you can see that under letter D. For the grading components, these are the important components of the subject when it comes to how we grade you and how you can expect us to grade you. So we have number 1, we have knowledge formative evaluation. So this accounts for about 35% of your overall grade. So we have quizzes for 20%. We have 15% for recitations, although we won't have the usual face-to-face recitations, but during synchronous meetings, virtual classes, we do have participation in these, this chances, opportunities for expressing your thoughts and ideas, and of course for some kind of interaction, of course online. We have number 2 under skills. We have summative evaluation. So this is about 55% of your overall grade. So we have the interview project. So I'll tell you what that is about maybe some other time. We have the final exam requirement, which we call the FCR, or the final creative or course requirement. And then we have about 20% for reflections. So about 4 reflections for this both, for specifically for this subject. And then for the values component, it's for 10%. So what is the values component about? This includes peer evaluation and of course the teacher's evaluation of any or all of the following components, or we have self-management skills, independence, collaboration or cooperation, class participation. Of course, mostly all of these are online, honesty, these virtues, and of course we do have the Benilde expressions of the Lasallian core values, namely faith, service, and communion. Let's proceed to now the rubrics. So we'll go to each of the rubrics or the requirements that will be employing rubrics. So first of all, we do have reflections. So under reflections, we have a 20% grade system or grade point. So we have 25% for disciplinary grounding, 25 for integrated or being integrated, 25 critical awareness, and 25 for effective communication. So this is the details of the rubrics, specifically first for disciplinary grounding. So you get the highest possible score for the exemplary part, number 5 or 5 points, if the submitted work exhibits clear points in examining his or her personal experiences. It clearly discusses connections between his or her life and that of the lesson. Okay, so you get an exemplary score, which is 5 points out of, at least for this criteria of disciplinary grounding. Of course, we have the grade or rating for satisfactory, developing, and beginning, which is the lowest score. Of course, if you didn't submit, you don't get any point at all. For the second criteria, we have integrated. Okay, so for integrated, let me just read for the part under exemplary. The submitted work uses multiple perspectives in reflecting on his or her personal experiences. So the student's reflection demonstrates a strong ability to integrate, put together the ideas from different disciplines in examining personal experiences. So this is again good for highest possible score of 5 points for integrated. Third criteria is critical awareness. Okay, so we have the description there. Of course, under exemplary, you'll get the highest possible 5-point score for this criteria if the submitted reflection shows awareness and deep understanding of how different social factors, for example, family, society, culture, influence interpretations of his or her own personal experiences. These factors are well articulated and relevant examples are provided. Okay, so hopefully you can also get the 5 points. The last criteria is effective communication. So we have the definition under effective communication, and of course exemplary, hopefully you can attain and receive the exemplary score or have done exemplary work. We have the reflection is written in an organized and coherent way. Okay, there is a good use of mechanics and sentence structure. It shows deep insight through a natural flow of ideas and effective conclusion. So you get a 5 points. So overall, you get 20 points or the highest possible score for the reflections. Next, we have the projects, or for this term, we have just one project, which is good for 50 points. 50 points. So the 50 points is divided into 3 parts. Okay, we have 3 criteria. Criterias for this. We have 30% for content, 20 for aesthetic appeal, 30 for creativity in the presentation, and so we have the 20% for cooperation and teamwork. So there's a teamwork or cooperation component to this. So for our criteria, the first criteria, as mentioned, illustration objectives of learning. Okay, so we have the highest possible score, 15 points, goes to this exemplary. Okay, if you have if the submitted work, the project illustrates correctly all the targeted objectives, okay, of learning, the concepts of identity, character formation, choices, social norms, and content asked for. So what the project has asked of you or of your group. The second criteria is aesthetic appeal. Of course, when it's aesthetic, what makes the work beautiful, okay, following certain parameters. Of course, exemplary, we have the highest possible score for aesthetic appeal is 10 points. The submitted work manifests well-crafted, attractive, and superior work that goes beyond the requirements. We have creativity in the presentation. So how was the presentation creatively done, or how creative was the presentation? So we have the exemplary, also good for 15 points. The presentation demonstrates imaginative thinking, innovative and unique qualities that go beyond the required qualities. Okay. Lastly, we have the grade component. The submitted work and presentation demonstrates exemplary cooperation and teamwork. So, and that's good for 10 points. So overall, for the project, hopefully you can get 50 points following our rubrics for grading. Of course, for the values component, remember there's a 10% overall grade for values. We are giving it like about 20 points, and the 20 points is divided into the following parts. We have 50, exhibited the BENEX, or our Benilde expression of Lasallian core values of spirit of faith, zeal for service, and communion for mission or in mission. And then there's 30% exhibited collaboration or cooperation with others, so hopefully you can have this. And lastly, exhibited self-management skills and honesty, of course, in your work, in one's work. So we have the details here. So exemplary, you get 8%, so you can see. So the student manifested the following. Okay, these are the expressions of the Lasallian core values, or Benilde expression of the Lasallian core values. So namely, we have to read them: God-centeredness, integrity, social responsibility, creativity and innovativeness, appreciative of individual worth, and one with the plight of the poor. Next criteria, we have exhibited collaboration or cooperation with others. So we have the exemplary criteria, which is the student manifested these to a great extent. Okay, that sense of cooperation and collaboration with your peers or your group mates. So that's good for 6 points. And then exhibited self-management skills. So, and of course, the values of honesty in your work. So the student exhibited attitudes and behavior that befits a Lasallian Benilde individual to a great extent. So we have, again, 6 points. So overall, that gives you 20 points. Now for the final course requirement, or the final creative requirement, which is it's like the final exam requirement for this subject. It's good for 100 points. The 100 points is divided into 4 parts. Namely, we have 30% illustration of the objectives of the learning concepts of identity, character formation, choices, and social norms, 30 aesthetic appeal, 30% for creativity, and lastly, 10% for cooperation and teamwork. So the details are here. So we have the criteria. And of course, the exemplary rating will earn you 30 points if you, of course, submit your work. The submitted work illustrates correctly all the targeted objectives and learning, the concepts of identity, character formation, choices, and social norms. And then the second criteria, aesthetic appeal, we have, of course, for the exemplary, the submitted work manifests well-crafted, attractive, and superior work that goes beyond the requirements. So again, 30 points. And then for creativity, I'm sure, the submitted work demonstrates imaginative thinking, output produced has innovative and unique qualities that go beyond the required qualities. So 30 points. And lastly, for about 2 points, we have the cooperation and teamwork. So the submitted work demonstrates exemplary cooperation and teamwork. So again, we provide that you try your best not to just settle for just the satisfactory, but to aim for the exemplary rating, so that you may get the highest possible grade, and of course that you may get a good grade or a good score, ultimately earning you uh, the grade that you would like to attain in this subject. Of course, for our consultation schedule, we have set Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 12 noon. Okay, for individual consultation. If you have any concerns about the subject, about any of the lessons, or any topics that may be very hard for you to understand, or that maybe you miss some things, for example, or you feel that you need some kind of extra help or some kind of extra explanation, feel free to email me here, rayvelrito.seno@binil.edu.ph, maybe to set consultation schedule, or at least like me mindfully knowing that you would like to talk to me online, of course, through Google Meet, or even to like chat with me using um, you know, uh, using our Binil the accounts, okay? So that yeah, so we're giving this consultation schedule for you uh, to take note of, okay? That we are always try our best to be there for you, at least online. Okay, for our recommendation statement, so let me read this. If you have personal challenges or health problems that might affect your learning and participation in this class, please let me know as soon as possible so that we can work together to make appropriate interventions and accommodations. So please do let me know if you have any kind of concerns about the activities, okay, concerns about the lessons, for example, or even concerns about possibly missing a synchronous meeting. So, but then again, I do hope that you try best to make it first on our first meeting, our first synchronous meeting, so that we can, I can meet you at least virtually, and of course you can meet me virtually. See our faces online. Okay, so once again, this is Marriage and Family, or Marfami, and I'm Sir Rayuel, and your professor. See you soon.